Hello and welcome. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time it is, wherever you are. I'm Tina, and this is the news that didn't make the news. For anyone who's looking for a 12-minute video, you can click off because this is not going to be it. This video is going to be about soul contracts. And the reason I'm discussing this is because I've been getting a lot of messages and a lot of questions and a lot of comments about what exactly the soul contract is. So soul contracts, the energy that is now being carried to us from the full moon being in Libra, and the tarot card reading that I pulled specifically so that we can look at how the energy of the Libra full moon will affect these soul contracts. I don't know why my nose always itches on camera. I figured out that the reason I've been sniffling through the last 20 videos is because I'm allergic to any kind of anything that's not natural, and I've been putting on perfume, and so I'm sniffling through all of these videos, and I finally figured out that's the reason why. So at least now I know and won't be doing that anymore. So I've talked about this in the last 2 videos, and I don't like to repeat myself. So if you haven't seen the last 2 videos, you may want to go back to it where I'm talking about the soul contracts. And I've also been talking about these waves, these creative waves of energy, the creations from the past on Earth coming back in and filtering back into Earth at this time. Now, I'm talking about this for a multitude of reasons. The first reason is when these waves, and I'm already experiencing it, but I would say it's going to start really amping up for most people starting tomorrow, maybe the next day, depending on how energy sensitive of a person you actually are. But when these waves of creation filter in and you start feeling them, several things are going to transpire. So you may recognize them filtering in as feelings, visions, or messages. And depending on how energy sensitive you are, you may experience them in visions, messages, hearing things. Basically, all of your 6 senses are going to be affected by these waves of creation that have been sent out from Earth that are now coming back to us. Sorry, let me get that straight. Okay, so the first thing is that we don't want to attach ourselves emotionally to these waves of creation that are coming back in. Okay, there's going to be the good, the bad, the ugly, all frequency of all creation that's ever come from this planet is coming back in. So again, you may be seeing, feeling, hearing, wherever your gifts are strongest. That's probably how you're going to experience it first. The other thing is, I only tell you that it can come back in any negative or positive form or anywhere on the scale or spectrum in that range, because what you experience about these creations, I mean, and this could be anything from architecture to past life relationships, everything across the board. But what I'm saying to you is, whatever vibration you're in, whatever your personal frequency is on a regular daily basis, whatever frequency you hold, that's the kind of information you're going to pick up on. So if you're in a super high frequency, you're going to pick up on things that look, feel, sound joyous. Okay. And again, we can experience any range of it depending what our frequency is. We match the frequency. That's how we connect to that broadband spectrum. So wherever your frequency is, that's what you're going to experience in the parts and pieces that come back through these waves of creation for you. So I have a whole lot, as in the last couple videos, I've been doing things differently. And as you guys know, I've promised myself at a soul level that when things change daily, the energy, my creations, my way of doing things, that's just how I'm going to do it. So for a long time, I've been sitting with 1 or 2 sentences and just channeling information. Now I seem to be just tapping into things, I want to say almost 24/7. So I'll tell you some of the experiences that I've had with these energy waves coming back in so that you can have a little bit of a sample or example what I mean. The first thing I saw was about 2 days ago, and I saw myself, I can't say for sure where it was, but I want to say Egypt, or somewhere in that general vicinity. So what I saw was me at dusk riding on a camel into the sunset. It was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen, because when you're completely out in the desert away from everything, there's no trees or anything to abstract that whole gorgeous, amazing sunset. So it's me at dusk riding on this camel, right? And I'm kind of very lightly holding on to the reins, and we're going at a really, really slow pace. And I'm staring into the great abyss of the sun, thinking and feeling, oh my God, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And then I feel this energy, this love, this light, this amazing warmth on the back side of my body, on the back of the camel. And I think, well, that's really weird. How could I be feeling the sun on my backside when the sun is directly in front of me? So I look back down at the camel, at the reins, and when I do, I see someone's hands wrapped around my waist. So all this love, all this brilliance, all this amazing light is coming from the person riding on the back of the camel. Now, there was all kinds of interesting things running through my head, like, why is the woman driving the camel? Why is the man behind? All of that kind of thing. And I just got overwhelmed and overtaken by the sensation of being totally loved, cherished, and ultimately protected. So that was the end of that vision. The next day, I'm sitting in my apartment at my table, and I'm writing in my journal, and we fast forward to what I'll say is the current time frame of reality. And my only reason to say that it's the current time frame of reality is because looking at myself, I look the way I do now. So it's sometime between now and, a close distance future. The amazing part was this one was not only in the here and now, or relatively here and now, but also it was me staring at myself while I was standing in line at a store to the self-scan or self-checkout. And this time I was viewing myself from a further distance. And there was somebody standing behind me. And at first when I looked at it, it seemed like the way he was standing behind me was almost like in a jealous stance, like, this is my person, you're not going to have my person, I'm going to protect my person with everything I have in every cell of my body. But upon staring at the two of us, this amazing feeling came right back over the whole backside of my body, just like on the previous day's vision of the camel. And I realized it wasn't a matter of jealousy or a statement that this is, this is my property. It was the same exact feeling that I had. And I'm guessing the first scene from Egypt was maybe 2,000 years ago-ish. So again, with these waves of creation coming back in, how we may see things may not be in any kind of sequential time order, if that makes sense. What you really want to pay attention to and make note of, if you're someone that writes things down, is how these situations are making you feel. And the thing that was so beautiful to me was 2,000 years ago, and then right up until now, there is that same person protecting me and loving me and just being there as the warmth, love, and affection on the backside of my body. So that was incredible. Again, I just connected to the feeling of love, the feeling of being divinely guided, and the feeling of being divinely protected by that person. So that was amazing. And if you keep yourself in a loving, balanced Libra moon state of mind, you will have no problem just connecting to the things maybe that you've created or that you've experienced, and the joy and exuberance of other creations, as opposed to the negative aspects of what's going on. I'm not advocating to totally disengage from anything that's negative if you're going to use it in a way that is conducive to you clearing your field or letting those things go from the past. So again, when they come back, how we will recognize these waves of creation filtering through is by thoughts, images, sounds, feelings, like that kind of stuff. That's why I explained the last two waves that came back into me that I saw. Now, in feeling all that and elaborating that to you, this is bleeding through because it's someone that there is a soul contract with. And people have been asking me a lot of questions about the soul contract. I've only been receiving information about this subject. I mean, it's something I've known about for a really long time, but I was not actually receiving any kind of information about this just for the last week. So as soon as I started receiving that information, I started sharing that here with you. So just know that when I make videos about it, I will share what I know right now to the best of my knowledge and the best of my ability. I knew that clearing our planetary field had something to do with our personal ascension process, and also the ascension process of Earth. And even if Earth ascended in 2012, we're still experiencing the physical, the emotional, and the spiritual side that we may not have experienced in the time that it happens, because we experience things when we come into alignment with those things and not necessarily when they happen. So the one thing that I wanted to tell you about, and I am an avid believer in making things as simple as possible. So the soul contract, I can't tell you, it's not a written contract, okay? It's a contract that involves universal law, cause and effect, how appropriate on the Libra full moon. I was looking at how to talk about the Libra full moon, the card reading I pulled, and soul contracts. But the really super interesting thing about this to me is I've been talking about for the last 2 weeks the echo or reverberation of these waves of creation, how they're coming back in an echo. And so the card reading, the soul contract, and the full moon in Libra are the exact same thing. They were all just one big echo of each other. So it makes it a little bit easier to slide from one thing to another not all my videos are like that. So, the full moon in Libra is us taking a very deep dive into divine justice and divine balance within ourselves. Because when we create that divine balance in ourselves, as you know, we mirror that into our outer reality. Libra represents partnerships, connections, and divine balance, divine truth. It's also about, so if we look at it from the perspective of the Libra attributes, right? And then we look at the full moon in Libra. The full moon is always just things coming from the unconscious up to the conscious realm of our experience, whether we've pushed those things down because we don't want to feel or deal with them, or whether they're actually repressed in any kind of way, whether that be cellular or otherwise. So what this Libra full moon is doing is it's making everything super, super intense, as the full moon always does. But the intensity right now will be about our divine inner balance, our divine inner truth, our connections and relationships with ourselves and with other peoples. This is the theme of the full moon in Libra. So Libra is also ruled by Venus. I talked briefly the other day about Venus being in Pisces and taking a deep dive into the emotional depths of the ocean where that is concerned. So Venus is about love, and it's about beauty, partnership, and comfort. So right now with the Libra in full moon, what's staring us directly in the face, and more specifically in the heart space, is that we are in the energy really strongly. And this is already here, but the actual full moon is on the 16th. So from now until 10 days after the full moon, we will be experiencing what it feels like the energy of Venus, which is beauty, compatibility, compassion, and harmony in relationships, and Libra, which is all about balance, harmony, and relationships. So it's a double mirror. We're looking at that. So this energy for the full moon is us about balancing anything in our lives within those relationships that don't bring us comfort, harmony, and balance. So, before I start this tarot reading, which is just another echo of everything I've already said, I'm going to point to this and try to, best I can, in words, describe the information I've been getting about soul contracts. Okay, there we go. Okay, so everybody wants to know specifically about this divine love soul contract, and I can only tell you what I know. And so here's what I know right now so far. This soul contract, though I'd like to tell you a fluffy little love story, and I'll get to that part later. The soul contract itself is about clearing our auric field so that we may clear the Earth's auric field for the electromagnetic reset. And I did talk about that in the last video. Now, what that means is, in order for you to be in divine Libra balance here, we need to take our lives, our auric fields, and the cells in our body and get those back into balance so that we may have what I will call a course correction. So for us, the soul contract is about making the course correction for us for anything that does not feel harmonious in our life, in our body, and within our auric field. So your job, if your job is making you really unhappy or uncomfortable, obviously that needs a course a course correction. I don't think I have to go too far into each one of these things. Your diet may be something that is keeping your auric field from filtering out and filtering in information as you receive it. In order to be a clear channel, we need to be watching what we're eating, watching what we're drinking, our alcohol, all these kinds of other things. Now, I'm not the person that's going to tell you you can never have a drink or that you can never have a hamburger. Sorry, that's not me. But what I am saying is the food that goes in your body needs to be clear. It needs to be of the highest vibration. Okay, so a job that's out of alignment with harmony and peace, diet that's out of alignment with harmony and peace within you, exercise. The most important thing about exercise when it comes to our auric field is all this energy of creation that's waving back in the planet is coming to our auric field. If we're not moving our physical body, whatever is coming in, especially if we attach to those feelings and other people's creations, are getting stuck in our field. So by simply moving your body in any way that you see fit, it doesn't matter, you are clearing that auric field and keeping it, excuse me, clear and clean. Friendship and partnership. Now, this is a pretty obvious one, but a one that I know people are struggling with because family, friend circles, all of that stuff. Karmic bonds, etc., etc. I don't want to dwell a whole lot on karma, but our friendships, our partnerships, our relationships need to be in alignment with what is joyful and what is harmonious. It's that simple. And really, guys, there's nothing here at all that's complicated. For a particular wave of a couple of thousands of us, as I keep telling you, I don't know the exact number. If I did, I'd be sure to share it with you. And I don't really think it makes a whole lot of difference either way. But we are not so much clearing karma itself, but we are really clearing the karmic pattern. So the imprint or the holographic imprint that this karmic debt or karmic retribution. Basically, we need to clear our karmic patterns. And again, a lot of us are not having karmic exchanges with other people at this point. Our karma is mostly cleared unless you're creating it on a daily basis. You won't need to keep clearing karma by this point. Again, this is so important to know. It's clearing the karmic pattern itself. What imprint, what mental confusion, excuse me, has this thing left in me. And for a lot of us, because there's only one person in this small group of thousands that's clearing it for the family history, there may be patterns coming up for you that you don't know where they come from. And I will advise you very strongly to not get attached to that karmic, whatever comes along with that karmic pattern. We're here to try to let this go. Again, these are all things that are clearing. Now, the whole point of this soul contract in clearing our field is so that we are a magnitude for everything that is our destiny. And that's where these divine love contracts come in. So limiting exposure of all things that put static in your field, specifically your connection to being around electronics all the time, or constantly being on the computer, constantly wanting to be on the phone, that kind of stuff. It's very important. I know we all spend a great amount of time on technology every day. I really have been working in this last year to really limit myself on that. Now, with having said all of that, how am I going to recognize when there is this person that shows up for this love contract? Okay, that other person is the person that's helping you release your karmic patterns within you. They're helping you release any stuck emotions that you may have about whatever it is. It's not exactly identical for everyone, so I can't be super specific about that. I've also talked about that in the last two videos, and I'm just not one to repeat myself. So hopefully the people that are watching have watched the last couple videos. I don't know why I'm losing my voice all of a sudden. So, how will I recognize that other person? The thing that you will recognize, and again, you will be clearing karmic patterns, all this other stuff, but the number one thing you are going to recognize in that other person is, this is too good to be true. Where did this person come from? This is the wish of a lifetime. That's because you planned it, and we've met in so many other lifetimes. That's why when you see this person, it stirs up all kinds of things that may or may not fit physically into your life, but either way, that will push you out of your comfort zone and into releasing your patterns. I talked about this briefly last couple videos. We are set in this divine partnership to trigger each other past those karmic patterns of whatever it is. I'm not worthy of love. I'm not worthy of giving it. I'm not worthy of receiving it. I can't trust it. I'm afraid of it. I'm afraid to be this open. I'm afraid to be this vulnerable. I'm afraid to be whatever it is. Wherever you feel any kind of fear in your body, when you meet this person, that is what you're being asked to clear. Now, I know people all over the planet are involved in all kinds of relationships that don't have to do this work. The reason we are being the reason we're being asked to is because this is one contract. This is not, I made hundreds of contracts, and again, this is a universal expression of a contract, what was going to bring out the highest version of Tina in this culmination of 26,000 year cycles to clear my field and be in that loving, fulfilling, harmonious connection with someone else. So there will be that soul recognition. I know this has come up for a lot of people close to me very recently, where one person is insistent that, this is their person and the other person doesn't think so. But because there's so much misinformation around this subject, people are in the misunderstanding that the divine masculine is asleep, that he has no idea what he wants, that he has no idea what his heart sings, what he wants, or what makes his heart sing. And I can tell you, because the information so much says that, oh, women are, they got it all together, their awareness is really high, and the guy sitting around here doesn't know what he wants, he's totally asleep. That is not the case. Even if someone has an issue with it, or fear around the connection, or fear around dissolving the karmic patterns, at a cellular level, they will be stimulated and activated in a way they've never experienced before, because that's what seeing this other person, hearing this other person, and feeling this other person does for you. So what I'm saying is, the best way and only way that I know to feel this contract is by that stimulation, that activation of who you are and what you came here to be. And that attraction is so strong because your body and the plan that you made really wanted you, no matter how challenging it might be at times, to work through this. So as I mentioned, it's one big contract. The overall contract, right, if it was written out in a physical form, would say what the board says. Soul contract, clearing your auric field to clear Earth's field for the electromagnetic reset of planet Earth. It wouldn't talk about anything romantic at all. However, we are human beings. We have emotional depth. We have amazing feelings and amazing abilities to create. That's why the love contract is the same contract as the electromagnetic reset. Basically, source, divine guidance, the universe, the omniverse knew it wasn't going to happen without being connected to that amazing, abundant, stimulating, ever cellular aspect of your body. Feeling that connection, that, oh my God, what is that? What is this connection? Otherwise, we would not end up doing it. The majority of us would not end up doing it unless you're a monk and you've been hanging out in, in the mountains, in the caves for decades. Maybe some of those people are doing it, okay? But the rest of us need to balance out our self-worth, our vulnerability, and work through this together. And also that means helping everybody that you come into contact with that also has this soul connection. Okay, so that means anyone who I recognize as a twin or someone who's signed up for the contract of electromagnetic reset. And I'm telling you, if you feel it in your cells, in your body, in your heart that you've signed up for this divine love, you will recognize other people who have signed this contract as well. Our assistance to each other is not limited in only serving the person that's directly involved in my contract, but assisting everyone else as well in that contract, okay? We're here to help each other. I know I've spent a lot of time, and I know a lot of people have spent a lot of time helping me clear out karmic things, helping me clear out karmic wounds. It's important that we're doing this right now in order for us to fulfill this contract. And there are a lot of people that step into our lives that are not the other person from that contract that show up to help us very shortly before that person shows up. So please, please, please don't sit around and say, you know what, yeah, I have some work to do, but I'll wait for that person to show up. You're best advised when you feel intuitively that connection, that soul contract. Do what you can in the moment of now to clear whatever needs to be cleared within you for this to happen in the physical. With that being said, this card reading a little bit blew my mind, which card readings don't normally blow my mind. But the first card that comes out for us here is the Knight of Cups, okay? And the Knight of Cups, Knights in general represent someone pretty much rushing in, having a lot of movement, having a lot of action. Okay, so a knight is someone who is full of love and admiration and respect and protectiveness over you. And the first card out on the table is the overarching or strongest energy of the entire read. So the strongest energy of this entire read is there is somebody that really, really loves you, and he wants to, or she wants to express that love by bringing you something. Knights are the ones who deliver a message. So the overarching or strongest energy in this entire read is that someone has love and admiration and respect and honor for you on a physical level, a spiritual level, in everything that you're experiencing right now. They have great love in their heart for you, great love in their eyes when they look at you. And this person is coming in to express that to you. Now, when I pulled this reading, sometimes I'm super specific, sometimes I'm not. But when I pulled this reading, what I asked this reading to represent was how the full moon in Libra was going to interact with our soul contract for divine love. So again, someone is coming in to express their love, their admiration, and their protection of this divine connection. The Knight of Cups is a messenger. He has an invitation. He is the arrival of someone that wants to express what it is in his heart that he feels for you. And this message that he brings is full of high energy, happiness, and an exhilarating feeling. Also, the Knight is somebody who rushes in. So this, if you're saying to yourself, there's no one who looks at me like that, Tina. The Knight represents rushing in all of a sudden out of the blue. The next card we have is the Knight of Swords. So we have a knight and we have a knight. It's not in his king energy, right? He's not there yet, but he's also not the younger page. So he's someone that has stepped into recognition. So the Knight of Swords is the knight who rushes in without any concern whatsoever about any obstacle that there may be between you and this other person. He knows what he wants. He knows exactly what he wants to say, and his only intention is to succeed in that goal. He himself is the energy of forward momentum, movement, inspiration to manifest in the physical what it is he wants. Now, this was so interesting because the first card, the Knight of Cups, on the table, and then we have the Knight of Swords right next to him. The part that's so interesting to me is on the table, we have the Knight of Cups facing this way, and we have the Knight of Swords facing this way. So they are literally looking to each other, right? So maybe there's some struggle with our thoughts because thoughts represent how we are, or swords represent how we articulate something, what exactly it is that we mean to say, and also being in the mind. So these two cups facing each other, they're looking in the mirror at each other. One is, I have a heartfelt, love-filled message of devotion for you, and the other knight is rushing in saying, I don't really care how this happens, I'm going to give you this specific message, but they're looking exactly at each other. So I'm going to say, for some of us, this may be an energy of what's running through my mind, my thoughts, how am I going to say it, how am I going to make this happen, staring directly at the knight who says, it's what I feel in my heart, and I'm just going to make it happen. So we've got two people showing up just because, for the love of God, I'm going to finally make this happen. Now, this is why this reading was blowing my mind. So we have the two knights in the mirror with the standoff between the heart and the mind, and the third card in the row is the Libra card, the Divine Justice card, right? As we have, I'm talking about the full moon in Libra, we now have the card that represents Libra on the table, the Justice. This is divinely guided. This will be divinely just. There will be a decision made between these two knights. They will figure out and overcome any struggle that they have internally to get in the place of balancing out their energy. Not only balancing out their energy, but also balancing out their contracts, because Libra also speaks about having contracts, whether those be 3D on paper contracts or spiritual contracts for divine love and the earth reset. It just was just like amazing. This is so beautiful to me, you guys, I can't tell you. So justice is these two knights going back and forth and being fair, being in the energy of fairness, balance, and truth is what is going to come out, what is going to make this decision be known from this person, okay? Justice in human terms is about us resolving our inner struggle, being fair, being balanced, and being in our truth so that we can come to an outcome that is harmonious and balanced with our contracts and our choices. So, what conflicts do you have in your life with contractual things, whether those be 3D, 5D, or to the moon and back? That's what we're being asked to look at through this reading. Through the contract that I've discussed on the whiteboard, and through the Libra full moon as well. So we're being asked to look at the contracts and where we are out of balance, specifically in the Libra energy of what does not bring to us harmony and joy within our relationships. Libra is also about balancing the scales of intuition with logic, and it's about restoring universal equilibrium. The truth will make itself known, despite how these two knights are going back and forth over it. That's weird. Now the comments pop back on. I tell you what, I don't know if I'm ever going to get used to how this works, all the things that switch themselves. And I said that, and now it looks like the comments are gone. So anyways, I'll turn them back on afterwards. I'm trying not to make this the 3-hour tour. But it always seems to be that way lately. Okay, so the next card that comes up is the Empress. The Empress is also a card that can represent Libra, or a combination of Libra and Taurus, which is very interesting because the Hierophant is Taurus. The Hierophant's number 5, and then we have also number 6 here. So the Empress, which is also attached to Libra energy, you have learned self-love, and now you're shifting into loving relationships with other people outside of yourself. Someone sees you and is coming in literally on their horse as the divine masculine because they see you as the divine feminine. The Empress just exudes the divine feminine. She is abundant in everything that she does. She is radiant in her connection with Mother Earth. She is radiant in her connection with the cosmos. She is radiant with her connection in universal understanding and wisdom. So here we have someone coming in to you to express to you that to them, to the person, to that other person, you are beauty, you are loyalty, you are abundance, you are the connection to Mother Earth, you are divinity. And this card is the most sensual card in the entire tarot deck. So someone sees you as very beautiful, very sensual, and very exuberant. The next card out was the Hierophant. And I swear, I couldn't have done this. Like, if I tried to pull a reading that went with the soul contract, like intentionally, I don't even think I could have made it this clear. So the Hierophant in the 3D level is about our contracts. It's about hierarchy, whether that be religious hierarchy in the 3rd dimension, which transcends in the 5th dimension and above. And we talk about universal law, divine wisdom, divine hierarchy of our soul contract fulfillment. So appropriate. So with the Hierophant being here, the Hierophant, the divine masculine, is sitting right next to the divine feminine goddess. The Hierophant is the divine teacher, and on a multi-dimensional level above that 3D contract that we're asking to look at and come into harmony with, he represents the connection to cosmic law and universal wisdom. When the divine masculine is connected in this way to universal wisdom and cosmic law, he finds his rite of passage into the next level of spiritual development. And he does it sitting right next to the Empress, which is in its essence the short version of what this contract is all about. Now, interestingly enough, the Hierophant card is also directly connected to Venus. Libra full moon, which Libra is, the sign of Libra follows and is the energy of the planet Venus. So everything was so amazingly interconnected. Like I said, I couldn't have chose cards if I intentionally tried to do that. Okay, so, which I never do. I let things come out. To the people that have had readings with me, they know I'm very honest, very transparent, and very straightforward. Even if it's not always, exactly what you want to hear. That's my style all the way around as a person, as a being on this planet. That's how I am. So, we have the Hierophant connected to the Venus and the higher contract, the greater understanding of divine wisdom, divine will, and this connection. The arrival of the Hierophant right next to the Empress means that this person entering your life, this knight showing up on a horse, if you will, at a soul level, understands that there is a contract. I'm going to repeat that because that's so important, because everyone keeps saying the divine masculine is asleep. The divine masculine is not asleep. And as long as you continue saying that, you're going to experience your divine masculine being asleep to everything. So, the arrival of the Hierophant next to the Empress means that this person entering your life understands at a soul level, on a soul level, that an unseen contract exists between the two of you. He can feel it. The divine masculine can feel this contract. He may not be able to explain it, but to him, it's going to feel like destined or sacred. Okay, maybe that's the way it initially bleeds through, is don't understand it. And you know, most of us, the divine feminine, let's be honest, we don't have a contract. It's not like we're looking at it in 3D. It's in front of us. We only know what we feel in that connection to that other person. But when the divine masculine has a recognition at a soul level, it's something that he's going to feel, this is sacred, this is divine, yet totally not logical and doesn't make any kind of logical sense, okay? Now, I ask, what was the underlining energy of this entire reading, of this entire broadcast? And the answer was the card of the Lovers. So the Lovers is the base energy. So it is the energy that is affecting the entire reading, this entire broadcast. The Lovers is the healing of two people, both physically and spiritually. It is a remembering of our connection to the divine and each other through time, space, and eternity. It starts as physical desire, and then it moves into an emotional need and becomes a spiritual journey of two souls together. It's about choosing conscious connections. It's about two people honoring each other at a soul level. This is a sexual energy between two people that goes way beyond anything that is physically explainable in any kind of third dimensional way. And that is why the divine masculine will experience this as a sacred thing or some destined thing, but may not initially know much more than that, because he is drawn in initially by that sexual energy that's beyond anything he's ever experienced before. The divine feminine will also feel that as well. The divine masculine sometimes is the one who may verbally express that first, but let me tell you, we are equal in that, okay? We are equal. This is a conscious connection of equality. So we will feel that attraction on the same level. It goes so far beyond physical gratification. It is a spiritual, tantric experience. It's about us having open communication and raw honesty. It's about us being physically naked, emotionally vulnerable, and choosing a commitment that brings harmony, love, and spiritual alignment of two souls in contract. As absolutely so beautiful to me. I actually pulled the cards, I guess it was yesterday, and so I went ahead and took a picture of it because I don't want to move the camera around. They already have the whiteboard and all that other stuff, but this is huge, guys. So the short of it is, we have these soul contacts. We have two people that recognize each other. If this person is your other person, and I'm only talking about this because I've seen a lot of it recently, there is not this thing of that person's asleep. Again, your divine masculine may not know on a be able to give you specifics, but again, there's a soul recognition. The divine feminine does not have to go to the masculine and say, see, look at me, see who I am, see who I am, see who I am. That's not what this is about. If you find yourself having to do that in a situation or in a relationship, that is not your person. I know it's challenging because we're all coming online with telepathy and all kinds of other things, so it can be confusing, especially if you're looking at disinformation or misinformation about what these love contracts actually are. And some people are saying, oh, it's a telepathic connection, and then that's all the only thing you have to know. If we were going by that, I mean, as far as I know, what I can feel by looking at the planetary light right now is close to 30% of the planet is experiencing some kind of breakthrough in telepathic connection, whether they're aware of it or not. So we cannot gauge that. So try to stay out of really looking at, especially information about these relationships from something that's from 5 or 10 years ago. And if you're reading something and say, you know what, this really sucks, I don't like this, don't do it. Don't put your heart and your emotion into that information, because if it doesn't resonate with you, it's not part of your contract, right? Because coming here to make Earth more beautiful, to clear Earth's auric field, to be in the ascension process with Earth is beautiful. So the majority of this relationship and this connection is going to be beautiful and sexual and amazing and activating. The only thing that doesn't fall under that category is when it comes to clearing our karmic patterns and our triggers and stuff like that. That will be a little bit on the emotional side. So I'm saying this to you so that you'll know if you're experiencing a lot of drama or a lot of things that are disharmonious to you in your heart space, that is not your person. That information is not current. It's not correct. We have to remember we're in an ever-changing energy right now. So even if somebody was being honest to the best of their ability about what they knew about this contract 3 years ago, doesn't mean it applies to you in your energetic field right now. So I will share more about the soul contract as it comes to me, but I keep being reminded that we need to make things simple, okay? If you're in a bad relationship, it's probably not the divine love contract you signed up for. If someone's not treating you like an empress or an emperor, then it's probably not the connection for you. And that Libra full moon is really pulling in the strength and a lot of gravity for us to look specifically at our relationships that are harmonious and to reach past our boundaries and say when it is enough, and getting out of things that are disharmonious. So this is going to be some really strong Librian energy that's asking you to balance in your relationship, okay? Not just in your relationship with yourself, with your field, with all of it. So stay in balance, stay in love. We came here to be love. We came here to teach love. We came here to give love. We came here to be love. And we are love because we are God manifest in human form. That's what we are. Anything that's out of alignment with light and with the love of God, source of all creation, is not in your highest good and is not your contract. Hopefully that makes sense. And I do answer and address the things, the feedback that you guys give me and the questions. That's why I'm talking about the soul contract for the 3rd or 4th video in a row. Enjoy. I love you. And until next time, to be continued. Bye.